y'all, and welcome to today's video. I am going to be sharing with y'all my favorite not too neutral palettes. It's going to be all about those palettes that maybe are neutral leaning, maybe have a good bit of neutral shades, but also have some colorful shades as well. I filmed a video and posted it a little while ago sharing with y'all my favorite neutral palettes. That video was all about my favorite palettes that are neutral, and I really stuck with neutral tones, but I had a lot of comments saying, Heather, what about this palette? And I felt like it was too colorful to be neutral. What about that palette? And again, I was like, it's just too colorful to be a favorite neutral palette. So I shopped my stash and I was like, you know, I have a lot of palettes that maybe to us color lovers, they seem neutral, but maybe to the neutral lovers, they seem colorful. So these are palettes that are going to be kind of those half neutral, half colorful palettes. Ones that are my absolute favorite. I love these formulas. I stand behind these palettes. That's what we're going to talk about today. And if you are new here, hey, my name is Heather and makeup makes me happy. Here at my channel, we don't try to be perfect. We just want to have a good time with our makeup, whatever that means. Shimmer, glitter, talking about palettes. We are here for it. So if that sounds good to you, I do hope that you will subscribe before you leave today, because I upload lots of new videos every single week, but I can't wait to talk about eyeshadow palettes. So let's jump into it. Before we get started, I want to say this is not a ranking video. This is not a ranking video. I love these palettes. Again, I just kind of shopped my stash. I pulled out, what are those palettes that are neutral leaning, colorful leaning? They kind of fall right in the middle. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm very excited about it. I have lots of palettes here in front of me. I tried to pare them down, but these are the ones that made the cut. These are the ones that I'm like, okay, these are favorites. So let's kick it off with Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. This is half neutral, half colorful. And I think this is the type of palette that has colors that even a neutral loving person would like. Now remember, neutral doesn't mean natural, right? Because they're all colors found in nature. Multi-chromes on hummingbirds, vibrant neon shades in the rainforest. Like, we've got color in nature, right? So I'm talking about neutrals. We have these beautiful neutral tones here. We have a beautiful black. We have a light cream shade here. And then we have these kind of grungy greens. So I wouldn't say, oh yes, Melt Gemini is a colorful palette, but I feel like it's also not a neutral palette. It's that not too neutral palette theme. This is my new one, of course. I do have one from when it first launched, but when they repackaged and relaunched this, I wanted to buy a new one. Mine definitely needed to be replaced. This palette is so incredibly beautiful. I love Melt Cosmetics. I had one of their palettes in my favorite neutral palette video as well. But this is just stunning. You've got great formulas, very pigmented, very beautiful. You can create neutral looks, you can create a more green monochromatic look, or you can mix and match. Okay, this palette from Odin's Eye is a great, not so neutral palette. This is the Verdandi Mini Eyeshadow Palette. This is a beautiful, beautiful 6-shade palette. So we do have neutrals right here. We have this peach shade, which peach is not brown. It's a little more like neutral, leaning on the orangey pink side. We have this beautiful red here. And then this split shade I love, because you can use this kind of peachy gold paired with these shades over here and have a very neutral look. Or you can dip into kind of this iridescent gold blue right here, pair it with the reds, and you can have a very colorful look. I love that it's a 6-pan. It's that cute packaging. Odin's Eye is one of my favorite indie brands. And when I'm thinking about half neutral, half colorful palettes, this one I definitely always think of, because it's such a beautiful palette. You have a good mix of mattes, a little bit of shimmer, and these really, really intense sparkly shades as well. Okay, the palette I have on today is actually Haunted Europe from Nomad Cosmetics. I used browns in my crease in the outer corner, and then I went in with a little bit of green on the lid and the inner corner. This is a great example of a not so neutral palette, because let's see, this palette has lots of beautiful shades in here, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 neutrally kind of more brown shades. We have this beautiful vanilla shade that's a neutral. We have these golds that a lot of people kind of classify as neutrals. So we have a lot of neutral shades in here, and we also have these beautiful greens. We have this beautiful kind of purpley tone, blue tones. Oranges can be incorporated into neutral looks really, really easily, just to add a little bit of extra like dimension and warmth. So I thought this palette was perfect for the not too neutral category, because we do have enough. You can create a totally neutral look if you want to, or you can spice it up with this kind of red shade over here, this purple shade. It just really fits that category, and I love this formula. This is one of my favorite palettes that Nomad has ever done. I think it's so nice. I ordered this on launch day because I was so excited for the theming, the color story, and I love this palette. I feel like you can tell how well used this one is. And of course the packaging with the kind of like image that moves, I think is so, so cool. Okay, I know I'm going to keep saying in this video, this is my favorite, this is my favorite, this is my favorite, because it's all about my favorite not too neutral palettes, right? But I have to talk about Adept Cosmetics Amunet New. Now, I know they are kind of redesigning and remastering this palette a little bit. I know that some of the shades were a little too easily broken, so Adept is going to relaunch this palette, and I will get the new version, but the color story of this is so beautiful. And to me, this was like Adept's version of a neutral palette. Now, I do have the dark version, which includes, I can't remember if the dark has the blue or the purple, and the light doesn't have one of these shades and has a neutral palette. You'll definitely have to check their site. But I love this palette. I mean, can you tell in the pans how used this palette is? We have a neutral here, 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 and here. So plenty of neutral shades. And then we also have fun shades. This even is more of like an olive brown kind of shifty shade up here. So you could classify that as a neutral or maybe not. But I mean, I did a collab palette with Adept. I also think that kind of fits into this category, but I didn't think it was fair to include my collab in this video, but it definitely has some beautiful neutral tones. But this is the one from Adept when I think about kind of half neutral, half colorful palette. I think this is so beautiful. Adept is one of my favorite indie brands. Of course, that's why I worked with them on a palette, but their formulas are truly spectacular. Their multi-chromes are so unique on the market. They really have a special formula that I don't feel like you're gonna find anywhere else. I think they're so beautiful. These super sparkly shades down here are just spectacular. I love the formula, but I mean, if you want an easy neutral look that's still special because you have this multi-chrome, just mix these 3 shades right here. These 3 shades right here, you can get a beautiful neutral look. I have these beautiful shades up here. I can create a beautiful colorful look, or I can mix and use neutrals and color together. Either way, this palette is perfect. Okay, in my neutral palette video, over and over, I saw the comment, I can't believe you're not including the Blend Bunny Dollhouse. This palette was in my mid-year favorites. I talked about this as one of the best palettes of the year to launch, and I feel like this didn't necessarily fit into the neutral palette category, but I think the not too neutral category fits it perfectly because we've got neutral in here for sure. Look at this bronze, these brown tones, even kind of these shades right here. Definitely beautiful neutral. We've got an intense white. This is a neutral. This is a neutral. But we have enough color. So if you want to create a full-on colorful look, you can. We have these pinky mauve tones here. We have this blue here. We have green. We have beautiful purple down here. You can create neutral looks, you can create colorful looks, you can create not too neutral looks. I think it's fun to mix the neutral shades, maybe give it a pop of purple on the lid. It can be so super beautiful. You can stick to this row over here and have an olive look. Olive, I think, is a tone that if you are used to wearing neutral colors, you only wear brown eyeshadow, you want to step outside of your comfort zone, try olive or try mauve. I think those are colors that are very good to like dip your toe into the colorful eyeshadow pool, you know. Try these olives, see what you think. Try these mauves, see what you think. You get to play with color and it's not so overwhelming. This palette is just so beautiful. The formulas in here are spectacular. Again, I put this on my best of the year list, so of course I love it. I will say all of these palettes that I talk about, I will link down in the description box for y'all so that you can check them out. I do have discount codes with some of these palettes. Some of these I don't have affiliate links for. It'll all be in the description box, so definitely check. If I have codes, I will put them down there so that y'all can save some money if you're interested. Okay, this palette from NYX is amazing. This is the Ultimate Utopia palette. First of all, I have to say, I really like this packaging from NYX. I like the clear cover. I think it looks nice. I think it looks sleek. But let me open it up so that you can see just a little bit better. This one is a little bit, there we go, a little bit tricky to open, but this is the perfect, not neutral, not colorful drugstore palette for sure. I love that we get, I mean, you can see all the neutral tones right here, 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 here. Like there's plenty mixed in. And this palette, I think, really inspires creativity because the shades are kind of jumbled up. They didn't lay it out neutrals and colors. They kind of mixed it all in, and I think it's fun. You can really stick with like a row or a column on this palette to create a look. You can dip all over. I do have tutorials. I'm pretty sure I have videos with every single palette I'm going to talk about. Yes, I do. I'm looking at my pile. I know I have videos with all of these palettes, so you can definitely look into those. But this palette has those beautiful earthy tones like the olives here. Again, if you don't know about color, I think this is a great palette. The formulas in here are beautiful. There are some really standout shimmer shades in here. Very beautiful. This shade right here is even almost like a duochrome. It's like a brown with an olive twist to it. Very special. I love the NYX Ultimate Utopia palette, and if you're looking for a neutral palette but you want a little spice and variety, check this out because you're still going to get these beautiful teals and pinky and green tones. Okay, let's talk about Unearthly Cosmetics Leather and Lace palette. I love Unearthly, one of my favorites. I think they kill it with packaging, themes, color story. I just think they're such a cool brand, and I love them. So this is the Leather and Lace palette. I was so excited when I saw this color story. I knew I had to have it because we have this beautiful middle row of warm toned neutrals. Perfectly beautiful. And then we have this top row of olives with the black. I love having blacks in neutral palettes because you can really use it to deepen things up. And then we have a beautiful row of purpley plum, kind of almost berry leaning shades. This is a mostly matte palette. We have 9 matte shades with 3 beautiful shimmers. One of the reasons this is my favorite is because it's so pigmented yet so easy to blend. I really like mattes that are buildable, that you can go in and build up a color or you can blend it out and it looks like different shades of shadow. These mattes are phenomenal. These shimmers also so special, very reflective. There's a lot of different like shimmer particles in these shades. I don't know if I'm using the correct term, but when you use these, they look so multi-dimensional. They're not flat. They just stand out and look beautiful. Again, I think that mauve tones, purpley tones, olive tones, green tones are perfect for somebody who wants to try out color. I mean, you can create a full-on colorful eye look with this. I do have a video up 2 looks. I did a neutral look and a colorful look, so definitely check that out if you're interested. But this is one of my favorite neutral but not neutral palettes. I think it's so beautiful. I love the packaging. I think it looks so sleek and cool. I've also got to talk about Sigma New Mod. This is another palette that I put in my best of the year so far. And this one, clearly, you have these shades right here completely neutral. We have 6 neutral shades, very light brown leaning. We have a dark brown here. We've got neutral shimmers. We've got this deep dark brown over here, also a neutral. We have this kind of more gold shade, a neutral. But then there are mauvey berry tones that I feel like are so on trend for this year, so perfect for the season. These beautiful mauves right here. What made this palette set apart from other mauvey tone palettes, in my opinion, is the inclusion of this shade right here, Avant Garde, because it is a purple to blue shifty sparkly shade. It is absolutely stunning and really elevates this color story, in my opinion. I love that we have these beautiful neutrals. So if you're somebody who maybe you like to wear neutrals on the daily, you like to wear neutrals to work, but you want to kind of glam it up and go special sometimes, you have these beautiful berry tones that allow you to do that. And then you have this purple to blue shifty shade that really brings the fun for this palette. The formula in here is phenomenal. You do get a really nice brush in this palette. Mine is dirty because I use them. I love my Sigma brushes. I just think, oh, I'm sorry. The metallic background can make palettes hard to show off on camera, but this color story is so stunning. This shade right here, it's not a neutral shade, it's a purpley shade. It really elevates the palette as well because it has a lot of sparkle and shine to it. I love that. And then we have beautiful, just soft shimmers as well that are beautiful, but they're very smooth on the lid. So if you don't want that wham bam sparkle, you have the option to do something a little more subtle with this palette. Again, I love the packaging. I think this palette is amazing. Okay, I've also got to talk about the Hocus Pocus palette from Colourpop. This was the first Hocus Pocus collab they did. This used to be my favorite Colourpop palette. I'm going to do a ranking my Colourpop palettes at some time, but I did that last year for Vlogmas, and this was my favorite Colourpop palette, and this is definitely half neutral, half colorful. This is the formula from Colourpop that I love. It's so amazing, and we definitely have a lot of neutral shades in here. This whole top row, completely neutral. Warm tones, very, very beautiful. We have this deep bronzy dark shade down here. These 2 shades neutral. This shade is a neutral, but the inclusion of these 6 colorful shades elevate the palette to me. I really like having the option to go neutral, to go colorful, and I think this is super fun. Again, we have those beautiful olivey tones, those beautiful purpley tones, and some red mixed in here. So you can go completely neutral with this palette. You can go colorful with this palette. Beautiful formulas in here. This is one of the best palettes Colourpop has ever done. I cannot recommend this one enough. I think it's absolutely beautiful. You have such a good mix of finishes, shades in here, and it definitely fits that not too neutral, not too colorful vibe. Okay, we've only got a few more to go, but how could I not talk about the BPERFECT Carnival, the Antidote palette. I think this is Carnival 4. This is a palette BPERFECT did in collaboration with Stacey Marie. Woo, let me lean back so y'all can see. This palette was really cool because the past 3 Carnival palettes have been all completely colorful palettes, which I loved, but I love that they did this palette so that people who are more into neutrals can try this out. This is a very muted color story. It's definitely the antidote for all those rainbow palettes. I mean, you can see tons of neutrals in here. I do have looks up with this on my channel. Get ready with me's. I love that we have these yellowy, orangey, and olive tones, even a little bit of pinks down here. But it's gorgeous. If you're somebody who loves big, large palettes, this one has you. You've got a nice big mirror in here. You've just got some really, really beautiful shades. I think it's fun to do looks like I have one today, where we kind of mostly neutral, but then we do a little bit of color on the lid and the inner corner. You can definitely achieve something like that with this palette. Beautiful neutral shades with lots of really pretty colors as well. It's definitely not a neutral palette, but I can't say, oh, it's such a colorful palette either. Like, it's that perfect mix of the two. I love the BPERFECT formula in this palette. I think it's amazing. Okay, this was my first purchase ever from LOIS Cosmetics. This is the Meet Me in the Underworld palette. I love this palette. The shades look gorgeous on the eyes. They're easy to blend. There's some really wet looking metallics in this palette. We have just enough neutrals in here while also still having those olivey pinky tones. I'm really sensing a theme as I talk about these with what I like. I really like palettes like this. I think this is so beautiful. Again, we have a black. We have a nice mix of mattes and metallics. Some of these metallics just look so wet on the eyes, and I think this is a beautiful palette. I've reached for it so much. I love all things myths, stories, legends, and the fact that this is Greek mythology inspired, I love. Okay, I do have two palettes here that I am 99.9% sure are discontinued, but I love these, and if you have these in your collection, pull these out, show them some love. First up, the NATASHA DENONA Metropolis palette. This palette really caused me to fall in love with the NATASHA DENONA eyeshadow formula. I love this packaging. Open it up though, and we have a beautiful mix of neutrals with some pops of color. I would say this is mostly neutral. Looking at it, you have a lot of neutral shades, but you do have some blues, some reds, some olives, and an orange. I think this palette is so perfect. I am just begging for another Metropolis palette. Give us Metropolis 2. Give us a cool toned version. Please, NATASHA DENONA, because this one isn't available anymore. It's very warm. It's very earthy, but it's still not too neutral, not too colorful, and I love it. The next one I want to quickly talk about, because I know this one is not available anymore, is the Naughty palette from BH Cosmetics. I love BH Cosmetics. I'm curious to see what's going to go on with the brand, but this palette, we have plenty of shades to create neutral looks and plenty of shades to create colorful looks. This is one of the best palettes that BH Cosmetics has ever done. The formulas in here are amazing. I'm not obsessed with the two pressed glitters in here, but they don't bother me enough to say it's not a favorite, because it is totally a favorite. We have this beautiful pinky shade here. Of course, we have all these beautiful neutrals, very pigmented. All the shades are pigmented, easy to blend. If you have this palette, dig it out, create with it, because it's amazing. Alright, y'all, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and tell me down below, what is your favorite not too neutral palette? I would love to know. If you missed my favorite neutral palette video, definitely check that out, because I had a lot of amazing palettes over there. And if you're like, you know what, I don't want to hear about the color, definitely check out that neutral palette video, because I had some great palettes in that one. But I thought this was fun. Let me know, did you like this twist on a favorites video? I had a lot of fun shopping my stash. I mean, these palettes are all amazing, but leave me your recommendations down below. I love hearing from y'all what you love. Did we have some of the same favorites? Do you have some palettes that I need to try? Please, please, please let me know. I already told you what is on my eyes, but let me tell you the rest of the makeup I have on. I do have on my Sigma blush in the shade Bronze Star. On my lips is Give Beauty Screen My Phone Calls lipstick with my Martine Cosmetics Secret Sauce Clear Lip Gloss. My bronzer is the Juvia's Place Bronzer Duo. Yes, I really enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you very soon in another video. Bye.